I've got some strong words for Darnell Mooney this morning. Public enemy number one in the DFS streets. I'm Pete Overzet. This is the Portfolio Review. We're recapping everything that happened from yesterday's Week 8 DFS slate. We'll also check in on some Eliminator and Best Ball sweats. We got the Guillotine leagues to check in on. And of course, a little Monday Night Football preview into Week 9 first look. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atrophic chokitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto matched with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust down AP, cut 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone, indeed. How are we doing this morning? The GMs are flowing. Maybe you are the eliminator, or maybe you are the eliminated. What's up, GMs? What's up, Nick, Matt, AJ, GMs, knocking on the door of a top 3 finish. Just like a little polite knock. Knock, knock, knock. May I come in? May I please win a tournament? Knock, knock, knock. Oh, Crutches, BM. I saw Crutches brutal beat in the Dawg Bowl yesterday. We will get to all of that today, going through Underdog, DraftKings, Guillotine, all of that stuff. Philly Phantom, I am here with you as well about a swap mistake. It all centers around Darnell Mooney, who I full faded on DraftKings, but I did not full fade in the Underdog swap ecosystem. I will explain all of the awful details surrounding that here shortly. Who knew Troy Franklin? Troy Franklin's my boy, man. He was loved seeing that. That was great for the season-long best ball bags. Was clicking the hell out of Troy Franklin at the end of August there. So love seeing Troy Franklin pop off for a big game there yesterday. But what I didn't like seeing was Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys not pulling their end of the deal in that game. They were my main stack that I rolled out on DraftKings in the SPY. I'll pull that lineup in a second as well. Once we get all of the pleasantries out of the way, we do love the Troy Franklin. Mooney on DK wasn't as brutal as Bijan. Yes. Apparently everyone eats against the Miami Dolphins except one of the best running backs in football. Unbelievable stuff there. David, this man is like a goddamn slot machine with these YouTube memberships. Every single weekend, winning another contest, another top finish. I believe in the early only again this week, David. Maybe I need to join you in the early only slates. Congratulations and appreciate you. As always, if you guys received a membership from David, be sure to let him know thank you, and then take advantage of that membership on Thursday. Thursday, any YouTube members have access to the chat for the Battle Royale Bash. It is a show where it's gated specifically to YouTube members. You drop a hashtag in the chat. I spin a wheel. If your name comes up, you hop on stream and draft a team with me. Very fun show. Get to meet a crazy cast of characters every week. This past week, we met a dude who has run a sub 4-minute mile. So yes, always love getting to meet new people from around the Deposit Kingdom on that show. And maybe, just maybe, it could be you this week. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pour coffee, and then we are going to start going through the lineups for better or for worse. And it does feel a little like the 4 worse on this Monday morning here. All right, let's talk some DraftKings. This was probably one of the weeks I IKB'd the Sims the most. I did not like the Atlanta stuff. I gave that such a big gnaw wave. I thought there was so much input volatility on the Falcons. Obviously, Kirk Cousins has not played in a long time. Darnell Mooney hasn't been a fixture of the offense. Everybody liked Bijan, myself included. He was in, I believe, all 3 of the lineups I built yesterday. But I did not like the state of the passing offense without Drake London while everyone piled into it. And if you were simming stuff yesterday, it was very hard to build lineups that didn't feature Darnell Mooney in it. So I gave that the nah wave. That's the good news. The good news is I nah waved the bad shock. The bad news is I did not find a winner in doing so. So I will show you guys a few of my lineups, including my one in the SPY. One thing that really stood out to me yesterday morning on the cram is like no one had interest in the Cowboys. And now looking at the results, rightfully so. Touche, everyone who had no interest in the Cowboys. But I actually thought this was a pretty nice spot to get in on a Cowboy stack in the SPY, and the ownerships ended up reflecting that. I'll read off the full lineup for us here. Dak Prescott at 2%, CeeDee Lamb at 9.5%, and Javonte Williams at 3.3%. So it was a quarterback, running back, wide receiver stack. No bring back on this one. Unfortunately, did not get Troy Franklin in here. It had, unfortunately, Bijan Robinson at a mind-blowing 68.3% ownership. Whatever the ownership projections were on Bijan Robinson yesterday, apparently we needed to double that. Wan'Dale Robinson, 8.9%. Jalen Knoll, who was kind of my preferred pivot, and that's where I did the IKB. I thought there was a double whammy with Jalen Knoll where you get the pivot off of the Schultz chalk. He was mega chalk at tight end, and you get the pivot off of Mooney. So I thought Knoll was a really nice way to make that work. He comes in at 14.6%, but at 3,500, scoring 11.3 points. That'll certainly play. Had Dallas Goedert in a double tight end lineup, because it was National Tight Ends Day, naturally, as if you haven't heard that 100 times. But Dallas Goedert comes in at 23%. George Kittle comes in at 7.5%. And then the Bengals defense, who were one of the chalkier defenses, 17.1%, -4. But if you are viewing this on YouTube and are not an audio listener, let me tell you what you can see on the far right side of the screen. And that is 5 snowflakes. 5 snowflakes. Dak Prescott, 8.62 points. Bijan, 6.8. Lamb, 14.6. Wan'Dale Robinson, 7.8. And the Bengals defense, -4 points. So I felt good about sidestepping some of that negative, or not negative, but that chalk that I thought was pretty dubious as far as kind of the range of outcomes there. But unfortunately, this Dak stack doesn't come anywhere close to getting home. And I take a bath here in the SPY. Let's see what took down first in the SPY. A much lower scoring week. You can see here, first place just really won this going away, 212.98 points. Second place is 198. So this is one of the lower scoring slates we've seen, specifically at the wide receiver position. And we'll look at it on Underdog, but there were just not a lot of wide receiver scores other than Troy Franklin. I mean, after that, you were down into the, Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman range, but no nuke scores at wide receiver, which does feel pretty rare from what we're used to experiencing. The top lineup was actually a Daniel Jones stack without Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor you had to have on Underdog, but on DraftKings, where he was so expensive, it makes sense that if you got to Barkley, Cook, and Henry, who all combined for or each scored 2 touchdowns, that you could make that work. So yeah, this winning lineup, a Daniel Jones to Pittman stack, Barkley, Cook, Henry. Then you had Troy Franklin as a one-off, Roma Dunze as a one-off, and then Kyle Pitts, which I thought was another really good pivot off of the Mooney and Schultz stuff there. Patriots defense at 6.2%. So easy game there. Just grab all of the running backs who score 2 touchdowns each. And the crazy thing about the Daniel Jones and Michael Pittman is Jones could have even gone for more in that game. It was just such an absolute rout. If Tennessee remotely had a pulse, it feels like the Colts could have scored 50 in that spot. Yeah, really weird week for wide receiver scoring. I can't really remember a previous week where, the 2 wide receivers who I believe were the highest scoring on Underdog were Troy Franklin and Michael Pittman. Neither of them drafted in 100% of contests. Even Jalen Waddle, I don't think ended up as a 100% drafted guy. So of like the 100% drafted guys, I mean, I don't even know if there was anyone over 15 points, which is just feels pretty rare in the NFL we're used to seeing. Kendrick says, thank you for always serving us audio listeners. I'll always do my best. I will always do my best. Sometimes I slip. I know on the Shipcast, we've gotten some shit from people who want us reading off box scores during the entire live sweat show. But on this show, I'm normally in the frame of reference for remembering that people do listen to these after the stream. You can get the podcast in your feed wherever you'd like. Just search In a Vacuum podcast feed. I upload the audio for any shows on this channel. Block Party, Often on the Clock, Battle Royale Bash, every one of those shows that I do, the audio goes on that feed. Philly Phantom, who played the Denver running back? Shout out to you, man. That was probably one of the more insane things yesterday. RJ Harvey, our beloved Broncos running back, who many of us were selecting in rounds 5 and 6 during the best ball season, who has been nothing more than someone holding Tyler Beatty's jock strap up until this point. And he goes off for 3 touchdowns on 6 touches. 3 touchdowns on 6 touches. And the sickest thing about the RJ Harvey stuff is you just know Sean Payton is going to learn nothing from that. He will absolutely learn nothing for that. I have like no misplaced optimism of like, okay, the RJ Harvey breakout is here. I'm just like, no, we're going to be back to our bullshit next week. I hope I'm wrong. But I really don't think Sean Payton is learning anything from that. I just saw this clip that Crutches is referencing about Kittle having that second TD stolen by Tungus. I had not caught wind of that yesterday during the games and then saw that clip. And yeah, nice to prolong the tilt from yesterday here. Let's look at a couple other lineups. I ended up playing 3. I did cash the lineup I put in the red zone, and it's pretty hilarious that I cashed a lineup that involved my quarterback not even playing in the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to one Mr. Spencer Rattler, who got benched for Tyler Shuck because Rashid Shaheed fumbled the ball, I believe is kind of my reading on it. Here was the lineup. Rattler to Olave and Shaheed. Rattler comes in at 4.5%. Olave comes in at 21.9. Shaheed at 10.6. Of course, the thesis of the play here is getting to jam in a bunch of studs around it. I thought I was doing that with Bijan Robinson, who in the red zone is similarly high owned to the SPY 65.7%. The good news here, though, is that this lineup included Barkley at 11.2%, goes off for 36.4 points, and James Cook in my flex, 10.5%, goes off for 36.6. This lineup also included Devonta Smith, who I had the money to pay up for with the Rattler double. He comes in at 44.5%. And then on this one, I did eat the Dalton Schultz chalk. I figured, hey, this Rattler double is going to be pretty unique. The one thing I just felt very strongly about is I didn't want to touch Darnell Mooney. And so this lineup, which isn't even that good. Obviously, when Rattler and Bijan combined for 10 points there from your quarterback and your running back one slot, it scores 141.74 points. But because this was such a low-scoring slate and because this got, 73 combined points from Barkley and Cook, it was able to hunt down a barely min cash here of $75. So shout out to the Rattler. For being able to min cash a lineup for me despite not playing the entire game. This is the beauty of us all playing in like 19 different fantasy formats is everything can be simultaneously good and bad for you. The chat saying the Tyler Shuck bag's looking good. Exactly. It also is just such a cruel reminder of how little we know. I remember every time I was clicking Tyler Shuck in the 18th round, I'm like, he's a guaranteed starter for 17 weeks. Yeah, just lock this up. I can't believe the field's letting me get this 17-week starter here for free in round 18. So yes, when God closes a Rattler, he does open up a Tyler Shuck for us. But at the time, looking at my Rattler bags yesterday, including having Rattler as my pick'em in the Shipcast, the Shuck bags were of no solace to me at the time. Let's see if there was anything else unique that took down the red zone here. A Bo Nix stack. Wow, a Bo Nix stack without Troy Franklin. This is just how you know it was such a weird low-scoring slate when you could win with some of these really counterintuitive combos. Like if you told me someone took down the red zone for $25K with Bo Nix, I would have bet so much money that it included Troy Franklin, and it didn't. But this lineup, holy shit, this is the first time I've seen this play. The Tyler Johnson play at 0.5%, that is some sick stuff. That is some absolutely sick stuff. So let me read off the full lineup. Nix, Barkley, Breece Hall, Sutton, Noel, Tyler Johnson, Dallas Goedert, Jonathan Taylor, Colts D. So you get the Taylor Colts D correlation. That's a smash. You get in Goedert, who was, probably the best value play tight end on the slate. You make the pivot from Mooney to Noel, and then you get the Gigabrain Tyler Johnson, Breece Hall combo there. The Jets stuff was honestly frustrating because, first of all, on the Bully the Sim show on Friday, Utica was all over it. Like when he touted the Jets, I couldn't even believe it. It was like, I was like, you're kidding me, right? Like, what is there to like here? Unfortunately, it became so difficult to play once Josh Reynolds was also ruled out. I mean, other than Mason Taylor, who did project very well and I thought was a strong play, I guess the play was just Fields, Breece Hall, and Taylor. I did ask Yuta, and I think my guy Adam asked him in the in-game Discord too, if he was still on the Jet stuff, and he sounded like he was a little bit off of it once Tyrod was out. But man, that was the game to get into. I guess some of the other pieces there, like if you get Chase Brown, it means you don't have Barkley, Cook, Taylor, Hall on your team, which was an issue. Higgins was fine-ish. Just a really weird game to have it pop off 39-38, but not have any giga smashes on the Bengals. But yeah, that he was all over that game being hot. And I think we need to readjust our flow chart as far as matchups, and we can be the meme of like holding hands with the Miami Dolphins run defense and looking over our shoulder at the Bengals run defense, because man, they're truly the team that gives up monster scores to every single running back they face. Yeah, Timmy pointing out in this lineup that won 37.4 combined points. Sutton, Noel, Johnson, but it does not matter when you get 110 points from your three running backs. Absolutely crazy stuff there. My best lineup, this was my third lineup. It was another Rattler double. Actually, I don't even know this. Yeah, this barely outscored my red zone team. But I was looking around for lineups, and initially what I thought I was going to do was have a Dak, have a Rattler double, and have a Dalton, a CJ Stroud double, because I also liked what the Stroud, Dalton Schultz, Jalen Noel pair did as far as being able to jam them all in. But then I just started to get so spooked on the Schultz chalk, and I'm like, I don't want Schultz in two of these lineups. And this was actually like my favorite 2v2 pivot off of the IK being like the Sims here. And on this one, I did the double whammy. Instead of just Jalen Noel, did Jalen Noel instead of Mooney and Kyle Pitts instead of Dalton Schultz. And I was looking at those projected points there. And yes, you were sacrificing a little bit on the Mooney projection. But if you granted that there was a ton of input volatility with Mooney in this spot returning here and playing with Kirk Cousins in his first start of the year, I thought it was almost an even swap. And to have Jalen Noel, Kyle Pitts at 22 cumulative ownership compared to what Mooney and Schultz ended up at, I just thought that was a really, really strong 2v2. So I actually felt very happy with how I played some of these spots where it was like, I'm going to trust the Sims on some of these stacks. I liked that, what I was seeing from the Rattler doubles. I liked that this lineup allowed me to get in Jonathan Taylor, Barkley, Rachaad White, and make that 2v2 off of what I thought was pretty bad chalk. And it still doesn't matter because, again, I landed on the quarterback who didn't even play in the second half. So for my audio listeners, this full lineup was the same Rattler double, Rattler, Olave, Shaheed. This one gets in Taylor, Barkley, Rachaad White, Colts defense. And then it has Jalen Noel and that Kyle Pitts mini I talked about. So again, this thing, like, how many points did Stroud end up putting up this week? Can I find a Stroud lineup to see how this team would have done if I would have just done the Stroud version of it instead? Stroud had a decent amount of points. I probably can't find him here though. Trying to see what some of these other guys came in at as well. I will just say, folks, sometimes you tab through these lineups like I'm doing real quickly, and you just see some plays that you just don't know where they came from. Like I'm seeing a 0.3% double flex Chig Okonkwo. Is this David Kitchen? Like, where does this shit come from? And like, I can't throw stones from glass houses with the way I play, But man, some of this stuff is just so off the board. So Dalton Schultz comes in at 30%. There's the Dalton Schultz. Let me see if I can scroll way down and find a Mooney. This is always the best radio / TV, me just like scrolling through lineup. So yeah, Mooney comes in at 21%. So yeah, I really like that, that 2v2 that I pulled there. And I don't remember exactly how many points Stroud scored, but that would have just been a very nice pivot there to have had Stroud instead of 2 Rattler doubles. Mike says, I got 25th in the double spy with Chig in the flex. Man, you guys are sick. You guys are sick, especially when it's Gunnar Helm season. That's what I'm told. It's Gunnar Helm season. So this was my day on DraftKings. Feel pretty good about like the IKB spots there. And that's ultimately, to me, kind of what is fun about DFS right now, or at least salary cap, where yes, everyone's just pressing submit on the Sims, spitting out the highest lineups and dropping them in, but being able to really think critically about some of the spots and understanding that the Sims are still very reliant on the human inputs and the projecting the field ownership that's going into them. So knowing when to kind of zig on the Sims, I think is a fun meta game right now. And I think the cram continues to be just a really good source of alpha as far as where the steam is coming. And there was a few spots this week that I was able to identify that I really like, just based on talking to everybody in the audience on Sunday morning. So if you guys are YouTube members, Hand Builder and Opto Bros tier, definitely take advantage of watching those crams. It's not even that I'm giving so much alpha. It's just all us collectively talking about it and doing these polls has proven to be such a good indicator of where the steam is going to be and maybe where the kind of ownership is going to be way off from a reality versus projected standpoint. All right, let's head over to Underdog. And I will show you my my Darnell Mooney tilt, and I will talk about kind of some of the dynamics with late swap yesterday. So I had the full fade of Darnell Mooney on DraftKings. However, I had the opposite of a full fade of Darnell Mooney on Underdog. Early in the week, I was drafting some Nico Collins. Midweek, I was drafting a lot of AJ Brown. Late week, I was drafting some Drake London. So I had a lot of wide receiver shares to swap this week, including Lamar at quarterback. I thought the Lamar swaps were far more straightforward. I talked about it on both After Dark and the Cram, that the default swap was going to be Daniel Jones, who ended up being fine. But I wanted to swap all of my Lamar Jackson to Drake May instead, because he was going to be not the default auto swap for people who didn't set ranks, because Daniel Jones had a higher ADP. So I felt good about that one. The wide receiver one was trickier though, because initially I thought I was going to play it kind of smoothed out at wide receiver and almost let the ADP gods take the wheel, because I thought with Pittman and Waddle up there that those swaps were pretty good and that those guys still wouldn't come in at, plus 70, 80% ownership. That's where I was at until the Drake London news broke. And that's when I said, you know what? I'm going to jam Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney's going to be a guy who's going to be sub 25% drafted. I think he closed with an ADP of 35.3. And I uploaded my swap ranks. I uploaded or updated my swap ranks around 12:30 p.m. Eastern. I put Darnell Mooney in there. He was going to be the default swap for all of my Drake London, AJ Brown, and Nico Collins teams. And, it doesn't work out. That's just how it goes. But it wasn't until last night when I was looking at my best lineup, or my second best lineup here, and I realized what exactly had happened here. So this team in the Battle Royale was a Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Jalen Waddle, Dallas Goedert, and then there's the swap, Darnell Mooney for Drake London. As I intended, I made that decision. But as you can see here, had I not done that, I would have gotten Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman, I had it Pittman and then Waddle in my last ranks before the Darnell Mooney stuff popped up. And as you might be able to see here, let's do some math because I like torturing myself. Pittman scored 19.5 points and Darnell Mooney scored 1.6. So that is, if we can just do some math here for the people, that is a difference of 17.9. And if we say, hey, Pete, if you would have been a little busier at 12:30 p.m. Eastern and said, you know what, I'm just not going to update any swap ranks. I don't need the Moondog. 17.9 plus 131.66 is 149.56. 149.56. First place in the BR is 146.06. So me being the on top of it GTO Battle Royale player who just had to get Darnell Mooney swapped into all my lineups because he was going to be 20% owned in this contest, 30% owned, instead of Michael Pittman's 77% owned, which was the thesis of the play, I would have won $40,000. But hey, got to take advantage of the swaps, right? Got to take advantage of the swaps. Oh my God. Let's pour some more coffee as we let that one sit in. Yeah, and this is the thing too. I'm gonna tilt, and it's funny, and we can have fun with it. But like looking at the disparity, like the whole reason I did that was because of this ownership gap. In Darnell Mooney, this is where it gets tricky for me. Darnell Mooney, if you trust ETR projections, which I do, Darnell Mooney projected for more points than Michael Pittman Jr. And you were going to get a 50% ownership discount on it. Michael Pittman comes in at 77%. Mooney comes in at 30%. So what, 47% difference there? To me, that's the right play to make. Better projected player, less ownership, jam it. It's just very tilting when you're meddling, you're tinkering, even if it's smart, even if it's the right play to do over 100 plus slates, costs you the difference between $50 and $40,000. Just a casual $39,950 mistake there. But yes, that certainly stings. That certainly stings. Let's see this lineup that did take first place yesterday. This one had the default swap, right? This is what the actual default swap looks like. They swapped to Michael Pittman. And this is, again, the whole reason I didn't do it, because you had the two default swaps on the site were going to be Lamar Jackson to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was what, QB7 and ADP. So all those early week Lamar teams were going to pivot to Daniel Jones if they didn't set their swap ranks. And Michael Pittman at wide receiver, what was he? Wide receiver 10. He was on that fringe of not getting drafted. And I think if this auto swap doesn't happen, Michael Pittman is probably around 30%, probably closer to where Darnell Mooney actually finishes up. But because he was the default swap for so many of the Nico, AJ Brown, Drake London teams, having the 77.46% default swap guy coming in at 19.5 points, that was a really nice bailout for the people who don't go and set their auto swap ranks there. So this team has the Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Rome Odunze, Michael Pittman Jr., Dallas Goedert, MK Run ZSUFU. Congratulations, $40,000 there. I will say this, though. To me, this Mooney ownership at 30.2%, and let's just grant that Drake London was ruled out. There was still, I'm sure, like a couple thousand drafts that took place after Drake London was ruled out. So Darnell Mooney's like ownership percentage probably would have been about 10%, even setting aside the swap stuff. But the fact that, let's just say my back of the napkin math is correct, and that 20% of the field manually set their swaps to Darnell Mooney. And that can mean two things, right? You can manually set your swaps and slide Darnell Mooney up, or you can just upload a CSV of ranks before lock, and then wherever the ranks are going to naturally take care of that for you. But that is a lot of people who took that initiative before the slate locked. And to me, it does represent the field getting much sharper. I think a year ago and 2 years ago, certainly, I think Darnell Mooney's probably 15% here. Maybe like 10% drafted, 5% on the swaps. In 2025, the field getting to 30% Darnell Mooney within a span of just a couple hours of the news breaking, that to me is another canary in the coal mine of the field getting much, much sharper here at these games. Go AZ Cardinal says there's a great swap video in the masterclass that will help you. I know. I kind of wish that I could have just Men in Black memory wiped that you are even allowed to swap on Underdog. Joey says, doesn't it feel like a key to this season in each slate is finding and fading the bad chalk? I mean, I would say this was like our first week where like a ton of chalk actually failed, right? I mean, we had a string of weeks where the best plays were just smashing over and over again, where an optimal lineup is scoring 200 points and finishing in top 1 percentiles of every tournament. So I think in general, it's almost though as cliche as saying just play the best plays, right? Avoid the bad chalk. I mean, chalk in general is very good. So it does take a lot of nuance to be able to avoid the bad chalk there. I think when you looked at, I assume we're kind of pivoting back to talking about salary cap DFS with this conversation. But one of the things about the Dalton Schultz stuff was if you were looking at optimals and you were looking at sims, there was a ton of tight end values yesterday. A lot of tight ends, a lot of double tight end lineups, as evidenced by our Chigakonkwo bros, were popping. So to me, it wasn't like you had to have Dalton Schultz to make lineups work. And that to me made it a little more fragile when there were 1-for-1 pivots to comparable tight ends. And, but that's the skill, man. If you can identify what chalk is bad chalk, you are going to be in good shape. I thought I did it well yesterday, but I don't necessarily always have that confidence that I can identify super bad chalk, because I've certainly been on the flip end of that where I say, no, I don't want that chalk. And then it does absolutely bury me. All right, let's see here. So I would say overall, I was happy with my play in the Battle Royale. And I'll give another shout out. If you guys missed After Dark on Saturday night, I had Galen on. He's been on previously. He's one of the guys who works on the solver over at ETR. And basically as a means to helping him, troubleshoot, quality control the product, he's been drafting more on Underdog this year. And he's on an absolute heater. He had 2 top 10 finishes in the BR last week. He won the DeBomb again this week, but he's just a super sharp guy. He's been a longtime DFS player. He's crushed niche sports over the years. Specifically WNBA, I know he was a legend for. And we had a really good conversation about how he thinks about the Battle Royale games. He's been looking at some of the data too. He had some really interesting insights about naked quarterbacks versus stacking, how he thinks about some of these dynamics. Some of the stuff I even lightly disagreed with him on, but I highly recommend if you're playing Battle Royales at any volume. I rarely give a hard sell to become the YouTube member and go watch the After Darks. That one has a ton of alpha in it. You will learn a lot listening to Glenn, someone with kind of an outside perspective who hasn't been playing these games forever, who just came in this year and immediately started trying to put the puzzle pieces together of how he wants to quote unquote solve the game. So highly recommend checking out that episode. But shout out to Glenn again, who continues to crush. I can show his winning lineup here in the DeBomb. He had a Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert stack. Of course, had Jonathan Taylor. You get Breece Hall at 75% ownership, who goes for 31.86 points. And then Jalen Waddle, who comes in at 60% at 18.4. So GSD4, AK Galen stays crushing. I cashed 2 of my teams in DeBomb here. Nothing that was sniffing the top of the leaderboard, but we can look at these real quick. Had a Joe Flacco to Jamar Chase stack. I like being able to get Flacco paired with Chase at this ownership. I know John on Off and On the Clock on Friday was really pushing the Flacco stuff, and I really liked how Flacco provided just a really low-owned stack QB in the 6th round. Then this team had Barkley and Javonte, Olave and Goddard. So unfortunately, if you didn't have the double whammy at running back with 2 30-point scores, you were pretty much dead. So Javonte 17 points wasn't going to cut it here. Needed Breece to really supercharge this lineup into the top 5, but did not have that. And then my other lineup was a Hurts, Devonta Smith with a Cam Skattebo bring back. This one did have Jonathan Taylor. It also had Jalen Waddle and George Kittle. So again, decent amount of right pieces, and it did feel like Skattebo was going to go for 20 points in that game if he didn't get hurt. But this team finishes in 46th, only scores 113.36 points there. And let's also just take a moment to pour one out for Cam Skattebo, man. Just one of the more depressing injuries, one of the funner stories of both real life football and fantasy football this year. He was an absolute giga smash where he was selected in drafts and now done for the season. Very, very depressing. And, you know, the Giants are going to still have some juice because Jackson Dart is really good, but to not have his Bash brother, his fellow creatine Caucasian in the backfield making plays for him the rest of the year, that's a big fucking bummer. A real big bummer. We got my guy, Peter Grassi. Peter Grassi, let's go in and check on his team in the Deposit Kingdom, which I bricked out this week. Finished in second. How did you do here, Pete? Oh, had the James Cook and Breece Hall combo. Look at that. You love to see that. 65 combined points from Cook and Hall. Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert. That was kind of the natural stack you needed yesterday to have a chance at some of these top finishes. Obviously, other quarterbacks did well, but the combo of knocking off both Hurts and Goddard's good scores together was nice. Had Jamar Chase, Tedroy and McMillan, 13.4 points. You can certainly survive that on a week where no wide receivers really separate. Strong lineup here from PG9699. Congratulations there, Peter. First place was CKNI65, taking home $1,000. I love this lineup. This lineup is really fun. You get Drake May, no swap either. This is just my guy selecting Drake May with his final pick in this contest. You play one off Dallas Goedert. You get Jonathan Taylor and Barkley. I guess not one off Goddard. You have Barkley and Goddard. But then look at this little mini correlation here. Rome Odunze and Zay Flowers. And again, neither of these guys go completely nuts. I mean, Rome clears 100 yards, which was nice to see. 14.9 points. Zay was cooking in the first half and then really didn't do much in the second. But still just getting, 30 why can I not do math this morning? A little over 25 points from your wide receiver duo was enough to do it here because of the, rock solid scores at quarterback, running back, and tight end. So congratulations to CKNI65. And then I see our guy, Vogie Berra here in third place, has the Hurts, Barkley, Goddard pairing, James Cook, of course, Diggs, again, 8.9 points, didn't need the monster score. Jalen Waddle at 18.4 points there. Really nice team from Vogie Berra. There he is in the chat. Needed more Diggs juice. Yeah, I was, that really bummed me out. I was very much on the Drake May stacks. I wrote that up in my fantasy life piece for the week. I loved that we were getting May, Diggs, and Henry all at sub, 20% ownership. Here in this contest, he's a little higher, 38%. What did Drake May come at in this one? 29%. So getting all of those pieces at that ownership, when we know what the ceiling is for Drake May, he's exhibited it in a week in, week out basis in a lot of different matchups. So that was a spot I wanted to pile into. Unfortunately, you just needed naked Drake May because Diggs scores the touchdown, but doesn't have enough involvement there. Henry scores the touchdown, but similar thing. Booty finds a score. Drake May gets a rushing touchdown. So yeah, naked Drake May was the way in week 8. Let's see here. What else do we want to look at? I did put one right before lock. I was like going through the lobby and I put one more into the Badge Bros contest here. Finished 12th. This contest is really fun. We talk about it on Off and On the Clock, but it is just a 3-person contest. So only 18 players are drafted instead of 36. And so the ownership element becomes really fun. Like you can get Bo Nix, who was 100% drafted in the 6-mans, to come in at 55% here. Even James Cook, only 84% drafted. Devonta Smith, 92, and then Kittle, 71%. So just having a few little lower ownership options can help you out in this Taylor Cook pairing. Ended up throwing this team up into 12th place. Any other interesting things to look at here? I bricked out in the fullback dive. There's our first Josh Allen appearance at the top of the leaderboard. Certainly doesn't pay off his price tag with only 23.22 points, and yet still possible to win a smaller field tournament with him if you have Taylor and Barkley. That's a pretty nutty pairing to be able to get Taylor at 2, Barkley at 11, and then Allen at 14. I mean, I did see Allen slide a good bit from 14 to the pick 14 or 15. The Barkley slide, I guess, happened a little bit too, 8.4 to 11, but I would say his draft mates were asleep at the wheel. I'll show you my exposures on this slate. Always disappointing when your top 2 exposures are just giga smashes. Barkley was my highest drafted player here at 23%. This is across all the contests. Jonathan Taylor, my second most drafted. I was making that stand of Jonathan Taylor over Bijan. I was even heavier on Taylor up until I don't know, my final 20 drafts. And I was like, holy shit, I am way, way under on Bijan. So I got him up from 10% to 14%. But overall, I felt good about these. I guess the sticking point for me, looking at my running back exposures, was Barkley, Taylor, Rachaad White, Javonte, Achane, Breece. I really needed the Javonte and Breece stuff flipped. If I would have been mixing and matching a little bit more there, as opposed to always clicking Javonte. But I can't really complain. Light on Bijan, light on McCaffrey, heavy on Taylor, in Barkley there. I guess Cook is the other guy. Down here at 12.6%. Obviously, you wish you had more Cook, but I did get a little spooked by the matchup and just the Panthers being a little bit better against the ground, against the run game. So I guess that one is a mild regret there. Quarterback, pretty spread out. Feel good about this, though. Nix was my highest drafted, then Drake May, followed by Allen. Baker was a complete dud. Dak was a dud. Hurts is probably the leak here, only 7.6% Hurts. That seems way too light to be underweight him there. Wide receiver, Igbuka and Lamb. I mean, all the wide receiver exposures are going to look pretty bad just because none of these guys did anything. I was fairly spread out. You see the swap here, 16.2% Darnell Mooney. So consolidating all of my London, Nico, and AJ Brown into 16%. Devonta Smith, probably didn't chase him up the board enough, only at 15.2%. I guess one decent one here is Jalen Waddle at 15.2%. And then tight end, feel good about the tight end stuff. Was, as usual, kind of heavy on elite tight ends. Kittle, Goddard, and Warren, my top. And then Schultz did sneak in there at 15.2%. And then I was, doing some of my randomizing. Kyle Pitts, Evan Ingram, Hunter Henry, was light on Ferguson, which I obviously feel good about considering his price and projection. Some Kincaid with Allen, some Taylor with Fields, a sprinkle of Jawan, Theo, etc. So, yeah, as we learn week after week, looking at exposures, these are not the end-all, be-all. I think the way I think about it, and I was kind of talking about it with Galen too, it's like your exposures are going to tell you how much you min cash ultimately, but aren't going to really tell you what your first place equity is, because ultimately it's going to come down to the combos and having that one perfect team and or not making a $40,000 swap mistake to Darnell Mooney. Shady says, I'm glad you had the courage to put that running back room of mine out of its misery this week. Should we do a little hop over to the Eliminator streets? This is what Shady is referencing here. I was very, very fortunate to have 4 teams coming into this week's Eliminator. I went 4 for 4 last week, absolutely sun running in the Eliminator to go 4 for 4 there. And I gave Shady just the absolute beatdown he deserves. 159.98 points for your boy versus Mr. ShaidyAdvice. Mr. ShaidyAdvice scores 86.4 points here. I think it'll actually be easier to look at the lineups over on BBMDB. So let's see if we can pull this up here. ShaidyAdvice did get a little score from Jordan Love last night, but Josh Jacobs and Tyrone Tracy not going to get it done at running back. Jawan Jennings, Shaheed. Yeah, I guess you still have Hollywood and McLaurin going tonight, but there's just no way. I have 160 points. CJ Stroud, Achane, Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, Shakir, Debo still to go tonight, Njoku, Theo, Freiermuth. This is definitely my best team. It also has JSN on bye. So nice to get past this JSN bye week alive, and then to have the Achane, Taylor, Breece stuff is really strong. Zay's going to get Lamar back, which is really nice. Down week for Freiermuth and Theo, but feel pretty good about this team. The other one I'm going to win here is 130-78. This is a Daniel Jones, CMC, Chase Brown, James Cook team. So obviously Chase Brown and James Cook coming alive at the right time. No Garrett Wilson, Jawan Jennings, Michael Pittman, Cooper Kupp on bye. Burden does nothing. Dobbs, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Lane. That's one of those clicks I'd like back. Jalen Lane was one of those clicks at the end of the Eliminator season where I was clicking Troy Franklin so much that I was like, yeah, let me do Jalen Lane here one of these times. Sam Laporta, Chigakonkwo. I take back everything bad I said about Chigakonkwo here. He scores 7.3 points and hits my lineup. This team, CMC, Chase Brown, James Cook, feels like a fairly fragile running back trio, compared to this other one, which I do agree, Yosh is way more of a wagon here. And then looks like I am getting my shit kicked in these other two matchups. No hope here. Jordan Love, 28.3. I still have Mahomes going tonight, but him making up points on that seems unlikely. This team's dead, though, because Omarion Hampton, Pollard, Skattebo's now done. Tootin's not doing anything. I guess Sampson could come on a little bit if Judkins misses some time. DJ Giddens is a 0. We haven't mentioned that name in a while. He was a healthy scratch yesterday. DJ Giddens, healthy scratch. GG's. And what's so ironic about that is Giddens, we have all these conversations throughout the summer about the kind of running backs, rookie running backs specifically, that you should be willing to take at the end of your draft, and how we want to wait until later in the offseason to get more clarity on depth chart. So you're not taking on a 0 risk. And DJ Giddens was like the poster boy early in the offseason of like, this is the one running back we feel really sure is the clear RB2 on his team. If Jonathan Taylor goes down, DJ Giddens would be a smash. Not even active. Amir Abdullah. This team, though, obviously much stronger at wide receiver. Puka, Amon-Ra, Worthy, Devonta Smith, Igbuka. So like a really sick wide receiver quintet there. But this team's going to lose unless Xavier Worthy goes just batshit crazy tonight. I would need an absurd score there. Hence why PD is only projecting me to win 2%. But at least you look at the team and you don't get too sad that you're going to lose it. This team that I'm going to lose is CMC, Bucky, Kyron, Swift, Eckler. I guess that team could have some legs if Bucky ever came back. But again, doesn't seem that great. Wide receivers, Marvin Harrison, Zay, Jacoby Keenan, Godwin, Slayton, Franklin, Noel. Whatever. Be gone. We're down to 2 bullets. We will keep riding with these two. And hopefully we can keep putting up some monster scores and keep the Eliminator dream alive. Let's pour a little more coffee here. Yeah, Chunk the Deuce says Giddens equals Shipley from last year. Dominant back, just being too dominant. To the first point, I agree. But the whole point is more that the thesis of the play from a process standpoint isn't even correct. At least Shipley was active last year, right? I mean, Barkley was dominant and stayed healthy, but I still feel like if Barkley went down, Shipley was going to step into a pretty decent role. Whereas that is just not the case. If JT, God fucking forbid, were to get hurt, I mean, DJ Giddens, yes, he'd be active and he'd play a little bit, but it would be a split backfield, and Amir Abdullah would likely be the lead back. So from a process standpoint, it was just we completely misread the situation and his placement on the depth chart, which is kind of bizarre because I want to say he had a good offseason training program. Like the preseason was solid. I remember specific beat reports kind of raving about him, coaches talking about how he brings so much to the table for them. So I don't know, apparently all fluff. My big limb, I think actually is going to have a sweat here. I'm in third place right now, which advances. This team is getting by, I guess, top 4 advance. So maybe I'm in decent shape here for the Eliminator in week 8, which is nice. So what is this? This is a 4 of 6 week. Okay, so I'm probably okay. I had Herbert score here. It's a Herbert, Bryce Young, Matthew Stafford team. It has Gibbs on bye, Aaron Jones. Please come back, buddy. Ramondre, Tank Bigsby. that one. Yeah, Barkley, why don't you just take a few weeks off with that groin injury? Kyle Monangai, Raheem Mostert. This is the same team I remember looking at every week on this stream. And I'm like, this running back room, how is it going to continue to survive? I guess the wide receivers are carrying it. Lad McConkey, Ted Arroyo, George Pickens, Jawan Jennings, Jordan Addison, Jalen Coker, DeAndre Hopkins, and then it has Trey McBride and Kincaid. So being able to survive this week with 2.8 from tight end, just some like floor scores at wide receiver, and my highest scoring running backs being Ramondre and Tank Bigsby, that feels like a miracle. This team is just is playing with absolute fire, and I expect it to get bounced every single week. All right. Let's see here. We can go look at my overall portfolio here, compliments of PD and bbmdb.com. I've been hovering around the same advance rate in BBM almost every single week, 30 out of 150, 20% here. Pretty similar advance rates for me across most of these. I just didn't have as much volume. Like Puppy, I had 22 teams, Big Board 30 teams, 20%, Low and Puppy 13.6, Schnauzers, whatever. So yeah, decent, whatever here. We can look at my the sick team, the bash team is still I believe my highest scoring team. It is in 754th place. We will keep pulling this one up every week. I think I pulled it up on the Shipcast last night when we were talking about our best teams. But what I love about this squad is just it's fully healthy. Not only does it have some of the league winners on it, but completely healthy right now, which is just such an anomaly at this point in the season to have 18 active players. Here's the squad for people who need a refresher for the team drafted on the Battle Royale Bash. You can go back and find it. It was the season finale of the Bash. It was the randomizer episode with Jacob Sanderson. And then this Bash team where 6 Deposit Kingdom members hopped on stream and each drafted 3. Is Jerry Jeudy healthy? How could you tell? Yes. 0 for 0 on 2 targets yesterday, but technically is healthy. Here's the team. Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, Daniel Jones. Banger quarterback room there. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Woody Marks, Brashard Smith. To have the Gibbs, Taylor, Breece Hall, and then the healthy running backs whose arrow is pointing up, who could certainly see their roles grow there is pretty sick. And then this wide receiver room, JSN up top doing all the work. Sutton, Debo, Judy, Higgins, Keenan Allen, Tesla. Obviously, the second half of this wide receiver room, or I should say everybody outside of JSN, you could certainly poke some question marks, but Sutton is always going to have a decent floor with Knicks. Debo and the gang getting back together with Jaden getting healthy. Hopefully, Judy at some point will spike again. He'll have his one classic 25-point game. And then we'll all play him again and he'll bomb. Higgins scores the touchdown yesterday. Keenan has been a smash even at a 10th round price tag. And then Tesla pops up for a touchdown every now and again. And then the tight end room has cooled off a little bit. Kelsey, Ferguson, Jonnu. I mean, Ferguson was such a smash there for that stretch, has cooled off since from a target perspective since CD came back. But I think you can survive this tight end room here. So very fun team. Shout out to the Deposit Kingdom here. Trade Jonnu for Fannin and you're perfect. Yeah, I would like to do that. Yes, Shady distracted me with Eliminator stuff, but I did want to go back to the DBQ, even though I'm sure crutches would be fine with me just moving on. But I do normally check in on the DBQ. I thought I was going to have like a little fun sweat yesterday. I ended up putting in 8 entries into the Dawg Bowl, which is a few more than I normally do. I've never normally just been at like 3 or 4, but on Off and On the Clock on Friday, I did a team where I went Barkley, Breece Hall, and George Kittle. And then I remember saying to John and Nez, I have a plan. And the plan was to take Daniel Jones in round 4 and then backstack him with both Alec Pierce and Josh Downs. So heading into that late window with Barkley, Hall, and Kittle, I'm like, okay, all right, we're in striking distance here. If Daniel Jones can pop off, unfortunately, Pierce and Downs only combined for around 18 points. 118 points here in third place is 136. So what is that? 18 points off the cash line. One or two more touchdowns there from Daniel Jones, and maybe we make a little bit of noise. But was fun to have a very thin sweat at some point there, and I believe mostly paid for my entries there, getting some money back. But let's see who took it down. Rip Sewell here had a Bo Nix to Troy Franklin stack. Even in these 12 persons, Troy Franklin, 91.69% drafted. So the field was all over that. James Cook and Breece Hall, dominant running back combo there. Michael Pittman and Troy Franklin, Cade Otton. Nice team there. Our guy Lee, a.k.a. Chad Maschke, who I believe now has qualified for all 3 NFL Dawg Bowls. I know he was in Miami. He was in Dallas last year with his dad and now punches a ticket again. Bo Nix to Troy Franklin, Stephon Diggs, Dallas Goedert, and of course, a dominant running back pairing here with Barkley and Breece. Mike C here, Bo Nix, James Cook, Breece Hall, Michael Pittman, Troy Franklin, Dalton Kincaid. You really had to have 2 of James Cook, Breece Hall, or Jonathan Taylor yesterday. And then we have our bubble boys from the Deposit Kingdom, Bound in the Deposit Kingdom, who I think had a pretty nice BR score earlier this year, finishes in 4th place with a Nix to Franklin stack, has Breece and Chase Brown. So there's a team getting close without Jonathan Taylor or James Cook, has Jamar Chase as the early round pick. Instead, Dallas Goedert bubbles it by just a few points there. And then crutches as well. Drake May, Achane, Breece Hall, Khalil Shakur, Troy Franklin, and Dallas Goedert. Yeah, as Chad said, the Bo Nix to Harvey TD swapped the top 3 in the 5, 6, 7 out. That's the second week in a row where late window tomfoolery from Bo Nix and the Broncos has shook up the leaderboard. It was that last Sutton catch last week too, that I wasn't even intended for Sutton, ended up flipping the board in a lot of spots. Yeah, declining a 10-yard penalty on the goal line is truly insane and hilarious. Just a very bizarre string of events there from the Broncos, but congratulations here. Also a bunch of familiar names near the top: Jewish McCaffrey, Best Ball Viper, Patrick Barnes, Tunya, Mathology, Hot Scissors, another Crutches, our guy Charlie, etc., etc. Also, I got to shout out Charlie. I pulled this up on the Shipcast yesterday, but pending what happened last night, I don't know if he got knocked down, but as of the late window yesterday, he was in 2nd place in Best Ball Mania. Looks like he's come down a little bit. I jinxed it. All right, still in 10th place. There's our guys, Line of Scrimmage and Sacrilegious in 10th, in 11th place overall in BBM right now. Let's see here. There's my, so I have 3 teams. That's 3 teams currently cashing for regular season prizes. The one we looked at, what's my other decent team here? It is a Jared Goff, Justin Fields, Brock Purdy. Come back, Brock. Man, Fields really showing up at the right time. Jared Goff on bye and Brock Purdy not playing, and Fields just swoops in after getting benched. This running back room is pretty good. Brian Robinson, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Barkley. Oh yeah. Barkley, Taylor, Hall, Brian Robinson, QJ, Troy Franklin, Hollywood Brown, Josh Downs, Jawan Jennings, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, JSN, Harold Fannin, Zach Ertz, Hunter Henry. I want to see what team, who was this drafted with? Let's go see what that one is. Because that one is pretty good. Okay, yeah, this was with Mike Leone. This was an August 25th Best Ball Breakfast with Leone. I think we cooked on this one. Barkley, Taylor, Hall, Brian Robinson, running back room right there. And then to also squeeze in JSN. So to have the Barkley, Taylor, JSN, Breece combos, just need JMO to spike a few bits here. And then the Franklin QJ back into the roster stuff, pretty solid. And then the tight end room to have the juice with Fannin is nice, along with some steady eddies in Hunter Henry and Zach Ertz. So Leone-ass team doing pretty good there as well. Looks like two of my top teams. Here's another good Leone one here as well. And Allen, Prescott, Bijan, Taylor, Mason, Ford, Sanders, Hunter, Pickens, Jalen Waddle, Judy, Shakir. Did draft a lot of Shakir with Leone. I remember giving him shit for that. The Slot Demon, Joshua Palmer, De'Ami Brown, Mark Andrews, Jake Ferguson, Harold Fannin. This is a fun question. When do you really think things are worth analyzing for the average drafter? So the real answer, this is all on the spectrum of how much you want to sweat/tilt, right? And everyone's mileage on this varies. The real answer is what Lord Reeves once said, which is he didn't even know he had a team in the finals. The real answer is to just never look. And after week 17, log in and see how you did, and then start reviewing things, and not to feel the emotional roller coaster. But that's not realistic. But most of this stuff, this is probably a good answer. Saturday, week 14, you could go through, see which of your teams actually are in striking distance. It all comes down to how much do you want to torture yourself? How much, enjoyment do you actually get out of it? I will be completely honest with you guys. If I didn't stream, I would not be going through these individual lineups. It's fun to do on stream, and it's fun to poke around and look at these teams. And obviously I'm looking at the good ones and not the bad ones. I mean, we could go down here and find some of my dog shit 12th place teams. But yeah, with Best Ball Mania, the irony of why sweating Best Ball Mania is almost such a futile exercise is because it's the wagons, it's the best teams that aren't going to do super well generally, right? We all talked about Mathology's goated regular season team. What happens is when you hit the nuts in the regular season and you have Jonathan Taylor in JSN, you show up in your week 1 pod or your week 15 pod, and JSN is 40% owned and Jonathan Taylor is 55% owned. They were the league winners. And now you are essentially playing in a pod with your non-league winners. Those are your unique differentiated pieces. So as we've always said, and there's some funny memes around it, but the goal is to sneak in the worst, most unique team into the Best Ball Mania finals that gets right at the right time. That's what Karane's team did. Karane's team barely squeaked in. He had all these unique individual pieces. It took off and went nuts. So if you really want to accurately look at your teams or sweat it, you want to be looking at the third place teams, the teams that are getting healthy or getting Rashee Rice or Jordan Addison, these teams that are starting to climb up the leaderboard. Those are the ones that you hope to sneak in. But ultimately, it's just how much you want to torture yourself with stuff. But I do this is why I like the PD thing, because it makes it easy to just come in here real quick. Let me see how my advance rate's doing. This is shorthand for am I having an okay year, a good year, a bad year? Look at your best team and then move on with your life. Yeah, this is another one, checking exposures to big injuries. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's check some exposures to Cam Skattebo. See how bad this is going to hurt. Yeah, look at this. This really hurts. Advancing 20 of 49 Cam Skattebo teams, 40.82% insane advance rate for Cam Skattebo on these teams. And now they all lost a really, really key piece here. Best Ball Mania, I had him on 22 teams. 22 Best Ball Mania teams. Very, very unfortunate there. Let's look at our best Cam Skattebo team. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Cam Ward, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron, Brian Robinson, Cam Skattebo, Miles Sanders. And these are the kind of rooms that are so fragile to an injury like this. Like Kyron's been fine. Brian Robinson and Miles Sanders are zeros. This team is working because of Cam Skattebo, because you got, fringe RB1 production from your 9th round pick. I think this is the team I drafted with Pat Moore. I always recognize it because it has Hopkins on it. But yeah, Puka, Jameson, DK Metcalf, Jacoby, Shakir, Hopkins, Lockett, and then this was a really sick tight end room: Warren, Kincaid, Ferguson. But man, it's like a hit like Skattebo to this team. Like this is like a well-rounded team. You can see how it could get hot, how the pieces could work in concert together. And you remove Skattebo, and it's just such a fucking buzzkill. Such a buzzkill. Oh man, I don't even want to look at my my Brock Bowers advance rate. Let's do that though. Let's torture ourselves. See, I hadn't even gone down this path. You guys say like how much do you sweat? I hadn't even done this on stream where I've looked at individual players. Oh my God. 2 of 50. Brock Bowers, 2 of 50 advance rate. The baseline even for Brock Bowers is 9.3, 18.67%. I have 20 Brock Bowers teams in Best Ball Mania, and I'm advancing one of them. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What is this best team here with Bowers? It's a Lamar and Jordan Love. CMC, Harvey, Skattebo. Of course, the one decent Bowers team also has Skattebo on it. Javonte was the hit. Keaton Mitchell. Pickens, Devontae, Jaden Reed, rest in peace. Keon Coleman, Burden, Trey Harris, Troy Franklin, Adonai Mitchell, Malik Washington. God damn, this was a slappy team. This is a slappy-ass team here. Brock Bowers, Mark Andrews. Who else would be painful to look at? I think I might be wrong. Mookie says, how is Bowers overexpected? I think that's a good question. I am not sure. I'm trying to figure that out. This baseline 9.3 number, because this is a raw number. I don't know if I understand this. Can someone smarter than me tell me what this baseline 9.3 number is pulling from? Because it's showing 2 of 50 of my actual raw number of teams, but baseline, what is the 9.3? You guys want me to look at Mike Evans? I think baseline is just the average advance rate for each contest. Okay. Some tourneys are 3 of 12, 4 of 12. Gotcha. Big board, higher percentage. Thank you guys. There you go. No, I know what baseline means. I meant the actual raw number, what it's pulling from. All right, let's you guys want to see Mike Evans? I don't know if I have a grip of Mike Evans. Yeah, 25. I guess I have him on 11 Best Ball Mania teams. It does just go to show you that the health in what an anchor a 0 is from like a round 2 or round 3 player. So hard to advance a player who does nothing in these early rounds. 25 teams and only 3 of them across all of this is advancing. BTJ. Fortunately, I was not super heavy on Brian Thomas. I don't think so. 2 of 29. I have 12 Best Ball Mania teams with him. Yeah, only 2 of 29. Yep, look at that. Rough stuff. But fortunately, not a ton of BTJ. And you can see in my non-BBMs, I'm like very light on him. He was just like not a player I was getting to a lot. Nico, I think I have way more. So Brian Thomas, 29. I'm going to guess I have over 50 Nikos. No, only 26. 0 of 26. That's crazy too, because like Nico's missed a little bit of time, but he has just been getting massively outperformed by some of the running backs around him. Oof. Yeah, that is bad. I'm surprised. I thought for sure I would have had more Nico teams than BTJ. I only have 5 Nico teams. Yeah. I don't think I have like any Manungai. Or I mean, I guess I have maybe a couple. 7 Manungai. I have him on 4 teams. Do you know what kills? I have like 1 Gatson. And he's on I remember drafting it. I think we drafted it on off and on the clock, and the team isn't even advancing. I have 1 Aronde Gadsden. That's unfortunate. Like maybe just diversify a little bit of all the Harold Fannin to Gadsden. I'm pretty sure this was the 4 tight end team when I was trying to get Nez and John to be 4 tight end curious. We have Kyle Pitts, Brenton Strange, Dalton Schultz, and Aronde Gadsden. I was not the Genty guy. I don't think I have a ton of Genty. 2 of 24, 9 BBM teams here. 2 of 24 for Genty. Neighbors 1 definitely hurt. At least we've like moved past that one. Like all those teams are already at the bottom. Yeah. 1 out of 53. Neighbors was the biggest anchor depressing injury in my portfolio for sure. Rashi 4 of 34. I have him on 15 BBM teams, but only 1 of them is currently advancing. We have a Caleb Darnold Dart team. Jacobs, James Cook, Pacheco, Tracy, Ramondre, Jaden Blue. It's not bad. Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Judy. Ugh. Cooper Kupp, Kyle Williams. Oof. Wan'Dale Robinson, Torrey Horton, Trey McBride, Jatavian Sanders. That team could hunt. This team could hunt. Chase, Rice, Jacobs, Cook. You have Tracy stepping in for Skattebo. Ramondre, the clear lead back. Pacheco's, on the rise a little bit. That Jaden Blue fumble, man. Oh, man, Jaden Blue, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. What is even going on with Kyle Williams, by the way? Is Kyle Williams even playing? I have not heard his name mentioned outside of streams like this where we look and see picks on our teams that you are just seem inexplicable in hindsight. I want to see yeah, you have Mac Hollins, you have Booty, you have Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams this week, 9% route rate, 0 targets. In week 6, he had a 26% route rate and a okay targets per route run, 8% of the targets. His utilization score high on the year is 14. Kyle's getting 20% snaps weekly. Yeah, I mean, it was 20% for a stretch, and then it's down to 17, down to 8. There's just no room for him on the field. I mean, Booty's good. He's their field stretcher. Diggs is obviously a staple. They like Douglas in the slot, and Mac Hollins they like as well. They gave Mac Hollins a decent amount of money this offseason. And it's just sad, right? Because if he was good, he would climb that depth chart and beat out one of those guys, but he's clearly not good right now. Oh yeah, the Patriots are excited about they were excited about Jalen Polk. They were excited about N'Keal Harry. They've been excited. They were excited about, who's another one I can pull? Aaron Dobson. Was that one? Just an absolute graveyard of wide receiver picks by this organization. Can you imagine? I mean, Drake May is one of the stories of the season. Absolutely cooking. Absolutely him. He is him. And he's got to throw to Mac Hollins. All due respect, Clay. I know he's your buddy. Tyquan Thornton. Yes, we could sit here all day and list Patriots wide receiver busts. The man with the Patriots avatar says, please don't say those names. Please don't say it. Oh, man. All right, let's look at some Guillotine leagues. So I am now chopped in 2 of the Guillotine leagues. the Deposit Kingdom and the ship chasing. I was so upset to lose my ship chasing team because it was one of the best teams in the league. And it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. It had Bijan, it had James Cook, it had Javonte Williams. I probably would have gotten chopped this week too, because Bijan flopped. Who's Big Nasty Bears? I think this is our guy Ben. I saw him talking about it in the Ben Havard there. Unfortunately, looks like he is going to get the chop unless, who does he have going tonight? Travis Kelce. Oh yeah, he's going to just need an insane Travis Kelce game. So good luck to our guy Ben here. And Chop Demon up here in first place. Let's see it. Gretch and Karain are still alive in this one. Yeah, Karain's team's good. Gretch's team is good. Let's see the Deposit Kingdom League. Man, already chopped in 2 of my Guillotine leagues. Unreal. Here's the Deposit Kingdom one. Let's see. Jacardi? Who is this? I can't keep track of everybody's user. Everybody did bit usernames on Guillotine, so I don't know who the actual person is. Man, losing with Drake May. Look at this. It's the Bijan, man. Bijan and Mooney. Just the ultimate Falcons rug pull here. Projected. Okay, yeah, this is done. So, yeah, Jacardi is getting chopped. Did you miss the Mooney coping? Oh, yeah. You gotta wind back. We had some strong words for Darnell Mooney there, Jordan. Look at shout out producer Mark. First place this week. Jalen Hurts, Javonte, Chuba, Ladd, DJ Moore, Henry, Kraft, Dobbins. This team doesn't even have. Oh, you had Gibbs. I was like, where's your round 1 player? Just a nice high floor team here. Chuba was like a sneaky good start in a pinch for Gibbs. My league did French royalty that were guillotined for all your usernames. That's awesome. Have we got to the point in the show where we discuss how ass we are at pick'ems? No, we got to the point of the show where we skip over that part. We actually did hit our second half pick'em on the Shipcast yesterday. The other one that I thought the 100X one we built on off and on the clock. That one was pacing to hit in the first half. This was the one where we built it on, where is it? Now I can't even find these things. It was Flowers. I thought it was Flowers, Adunze. Where's Adunze? Oh, it must have been the okay, so we had the Flowers higher 99.5 receiving yards, Rome higher 99.5. That one would have been nice. And then for some reason I thought it was Rome in the other one. But oh yeah, we had the Colston Loveland higher 3.5 receptions, Swift higher rushing yards. Yeah, so Swift didn't get there. But yes, just the typical graveyard of pick'ems here. Buddy, I wish I had site credits. This is my hard-earned cash. Do you know who's fueling my pick'ems? It's David. It's David's YouTube membership gifts. Let me see my 2 guillotines that are actually still alive and see if I have any sweats or if I'm good tonight. 117 here on this one, the Hollywood Guillotine League. Jordan Love doing his job. Jordan Love and Breece Hall. I mean, no one else on this team really even did much, but Love to Breece was good. I'll get Gibbs coming back. Been sitting on Brock Bowers here. Playing Dalton Kincaid over Fannin. What was I thinking there? But this team will live to see another week. And then this is the Fantasy Life Work League one. See how we're looking here. Ooh, highest scoring team of the week, and I still have PMR. Let's see what we did here. Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor and James Cook. Dude, this team went nuts this week. Jones, Taylor, Cook, Olave, Tedoroya, and Dallas Goedert. And I still have, I was legitimately deciding who should I play between Bill and Troy Franklin. And I was like, we'll play the running back. We'll be just slightly higher floor. Bill and Pacheco. All right. So this team is smashing. Absolutely smashing. Someone was asking about the Splash Sports. Yeah, let's check in. There was a point yesterday, I believe, where David Kitchen was at the top. I have 2 teams cashing right now. 2 teams cashing. Let's see what I'm looking at here. Oh no, just 1 team cashing. I had a Jonathan Taylor, Bo Nix, Lamb, Barkley, Love, Igbuka, Breece, White. Man, those Bucks really let me down. I had too much Rachaad White as my tier 8 guy, although the team in first place also had Rachaad White at tier 8. Jonathan Taylor, Bo Nix, Jamar Chase, Barkley, Love, Stroud, Flacco, Rachaad White. Let's see. Do I have anyone going tonight that could push somebody up? Okay, actually this one could cook a little, right? It's at 158 and it still has Mahomes and Rashi to go. It hit on Bo Nix, Chase, Cook, Love, Breece, Warren. So yeah, this one could make some noise tonight. What do I need? Like 40 some points from those 2 takes the team up to 198. That could help me cash. Who is the optimal? Wow. Okay. So I'm trying to think who is the optimal tier 8 play. It looks like it was Pittman. Pittman scored. Let me scroll down and actually see this. Oh, there we go. 23.5 points. So yeah, Pittman was the play there in tier 8. Rachaad White, I think, was the chalk and was a strong play. Devonta was fine too. He scores 14.4, but definitely a good week to get off the board in tier 8. If you guys want to play in this, there was some overlay, 430 out of 500 entries. Very fun contest. Join us over there in the Swolecast. And at least as of right now, Tate81, he's in 10th place. This is our nemesis. If you guys aren't familiar with this guy, Tate81, he crushes this contest. And we have come together as a community to take him down. Swolecast Check In, second chance TD Survivor. So many people got wiped out by Bijan yesterday. I did Taylor with my entry. I completely messed up week 1. This is the second chance, and I whiffed so hard. I got too cute. Bill and Rachaad White, Kyron and Bill. Bill sunk me. Javonte carried one of my teams to week 8, and I said, you know what? No more goddamn funny business. All I want to do is get to week 9. I don't even care about the game theory anymore. I just can't look myself in the mirror and be out of a second chance Survivor League with 3 bullets 1 weekend. And so I played Jonathan Taylor and advanced. All my homies hate Tate81. I see him on Underdog a little bit too. Should I try to get Tate81 on After Dark? We can just boo him. Second chance Survivor, I played, okay, I had 2 entries. I lost the Falcons. I lost the goddamn Falcons. The Falcons losing to the Dolphins is pure comedy. Pure comedy. I did play New England in the other one. Thank God. Thank God. Man. So yeah, rough scene for your boy. Out of all the other ones. Let's see. Where's the original Swolecast TD League is down to 8 entries. 8 entries. Donkey, DJB, JSB, Mostrovs, Bucks, Yannick, Blaze, and Rocket here. Good luck to you guys. Good luck. It is interesting to see some of the names. It does look like look at the restraint from these guys. They waited until week 8 to play Taylor. Multiple Taylors, a Henry, a Barkley. They're getting down to the nitty-gritty. You can also see here, you can pick wide receivers in this, not a single wide receiver. There's a Puka, actually. Someone used Puka once. This one will be fun to track. All right. What do we want to get to next? Should we set our sights on Monday Night Football here? I don't think I'm forgetting anything else. I don't think. Yeah, the Bengals losing to the Jets wiped out a bunch of teams as well. All right, let's see what's going on this week. All right, we have Primetime Palooza, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. I think they mean Thursday Night Football, right? Is that a typo? It's got to be a typo. Check in on main event teams. Yeah, I can pull up a couple of those in a second. Let's do a Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football Palooza. So Thursday's Baltimore at Miami. Baltimore at Miami. Is Lamar going to be back for that one? Still on a short week. And then, let's see here. I'm going to do this one from the balls. Sorry, Solver. Let's look at the landscape. So it's Mahomes, maybe Lamar, Mariota, and Tua. Derrick Henry, Achane, Bill, Pacheco, Hunt, Brashard, Rashi, Waddle, Zay, Debo, Worthy, McLaurin, Bateman. Tight end is rough. Tight end is rough. We have the 102. I think the play is definitely Henry or Achane at the 102, right? Yeah, wide receiver, it looks pretty deep here, as TKH mentions. Being able to get down to McLaurin, who's back, Bateman, Hollywood, Malik Washington, who played well yesterday. Man, Baltimore, Miami. Wasn't it 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago that Baltimore Miami game went absolutely nuts? I remember that one fondly. Yeah, we're going to take Achane here. Yeah, Ollie Gordon getting all that usage. I mean, they were just dominating that game, that it was able to be an Ollie Gordon week. 34-10. Let's see what the how much work Ollie Gordon got yesterday. Because Achane Achane snap share was down at 66%. They just barely needed to use him. Still an elite role. He has that kind of like CMC wide receiver-esque usage that is just so valuable. But yeah, Ollie Gordon snaps were actually about what he's been at most of the year. I mean, this is actually just another game for him. Look at this. 31% snaps, 27% of the rush attempts. He was at 26% of the rush attempts last week. It's not even that big of a spike. All right, Lamar falling here. I'm trying to think, how big is the drop off from Lamar to Mariota? It's a pretty big drop off. I think it is certainly worth just taking Lamar here, and hoping he plays, and then just pivoting to Huntley if not. So we'll go Lamar and Achane. I don't know. I don't think I have any interest in Kelsey at this price. Shout out to the Run the Sims Draft Caddy overlay projection here. 702, 62, 605, 433. So I don't think you mess with Kelsey at this price. Bill goes. Debo, Worthy goes. We're definitely taking Debo. And then the question is, do we just take Pacheco? What did Pacheco's snap shares end up being last week? Heading into the game, his stuff was on the rise. It did dip a little bit last week, but the utilization has been solid, and they're still such. I guess we'll go Debo to get an RB1 here, or a wide receiver 1. I was torn there about the Pacheco stuff. I mean, they're such big favorites in this game, but We'll let that one go. Yeah, Ben, who's the foremost Gunnar Helm fan, sending in the super chat while lamenting getting chopped in the ship-chasing guillotine. GG's, Ben. GG's. Brashard, breakout game tonight. I've been told this every night. Every time Brashard Smith plays, I'm told it's the breakout game. A breakout game for Brashard Smith is like 4 targets instead of 3. Let's see here. So Miranda behind us is already capped at running back, so we shouldn't take that. I think it's between Bateman, Hollywood, and Malik. I assume just on a Lamar team, if he's back and they're cooking deep, we'll grab Bateman, and then we'll grab, here we go. This is the moment of truth. Kareem Hunt for the touchdowns. Or do you take Brashard Smith? I feel like you like Brashard Smith more when it's supposed to be, it's kind of like the Justice Hill play, where you like it more when the game's projected to be close, which this game absolutely is not. I mean, the Chiefs have a 30-point team total, and they're projected to win. I'm grabbing Kareem Hunt here. I'm going touchdown hunting. All right. We're about to lock in for a pick'em here in a sec. I just have no confidence. My confidence in the pick'em streets is just like an all-time low. I tried to shoot through it. I said, hey, Pete, you're a shooter. Just keep shooting. It's not working. Yeah, where are you, Josh? Did I see you? Did you have one? All the McWeapon and pick'ems and PTPs? All right. Give us the juice. Give us the juice, Josh. Yeah, this one, that was fun. We do got to, it's been a week since we had the Gibbs. I did think that it felt like a glitch. Unfortunately, we paired it with absolute dog shit. But to Jahmyr Gibbs, easy highest rusher in that game. All right, we're going to go likely. This team built itself. This is probably like chalkish by ADP stuff, but I actually like the story it tells. Lamar comes back, connects with Bateman and Likely. You have Achane on the bring back, catching a ton of balls. Kareem Hunt scoring the touchdowns with that big team total. And then Deebo Samuel making some big plays there. Normally, I feel like I need a redemption arc after doing one of these, but I think I'm good. I just need one. Just need one to take it down. The Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. Did that just get fixed? I think it just got fixed, huh? Shout out to whoever's watching from Underdog right now. 8K up top. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. All right. We got the idea boxes going in here? I got a 40% profit boost, 30% profit boost. Underdog sees my pick'ems and they're like Oprah giving out cars to the crowd. Pete, you get a profit boost. You get another profit boost. You give a profit boost. All right, let's apply the profit boost. All right, Josh, tell me the exact McNichols one you like. Hurd coming in. He likes Pacheco over 12.5 attempts, over 47.5 yards. Pacheco, anytime TD. Hunt, under 19.5 yards. Lane, over 1.5 yards. Kelsey, under 47.5. I don't know if I love playing the Hunt under 19.5 when they just have such a huge team total. Lane over 1.5 yards. I mean, we was just pulled up a Jalen Lane team. It seems like you guys all like the Pacheco stuff. What is Pacheco fantasy points? 8.75. The question to me, guys, is 8.75. How much of that is just needing a touchdown, right? Because if he hits his baseline 50.5 is 5 points and then 1.5 receptions. So even if he gets to 2 receptions, that's 6 points. So I feel like the fantasy points, you're just as well off playing the touchdown. That's my issue with the Pacheco fantasy points. Because if he's getting to 8.75, it's almost for sure going to be a touchdown, right? Go do this on the Davis Maddox stream later. For shot anytime touchdown. Go do this elsewhere. All right. We got to lock in, though. We got to lock in. Let me get this. So let's get Josh's in. I mean, Josh has been our absolute whisperer here. McNichols receiving yards. He's been at 2 for 23, 3 for 30. They're going to be in a negative game script. I'm gonna trust Jeremy here, or Josh. Davis likes worthy points and Rice receptions. Davis, I'm glad you showed yourself in the chat. Mr. Baker Mayfield's going to throw for 25 yards in every quarter. Someone said at the time, that feels like a trap. Narrator, it definitely was a trap. Lane at 1.5 yards. Yeah, but the thing about Lane, guys, is McLaurin's back. McLaurin's back. And like Lane was seeing playing time specifically on the outside, right? Where McLaurin's playing. I don't know if I love that one. Jonathan, I know you're the world's foremost Jalen Lane guy, but Terry McLaurin back. Bill TD. I need locks, guys. I need locks. I don't mind the Pacheco stuff, but I just don't think we can do the I don't like the fantasy points. So past 2 weeks, he's been at 51 and 57 yards. I think if you take the Pacheco, I'd rather just have it be attempts or yards. Hurd liked over 12.5 attempts at plus. I kind of like that one. He's been at 12 and 15. They're going to run more in this game. But God, losing a pick 'em because Isaiah Pacheco doesn't get 13 rushing attempts. You got it at 47.5 yards. It's up to 50.5. I'm going to put this in the idea box for a second. Mister, it's Schneid with a CH. How about this? Should we get into the game high rushing yards again? Game high rushing yards. I wonder what Bill is relative to Pacheco. 1.13. Game high rushing yards. So they're both the same, Bill and Pacheco. But Bill in a negative game script does not sound fun. Hunt over 5.5 rushing attempts. McLaurin longest reception. Noah Gray 6.5. Mahomes passing TDs. Now we're actually just kind of talking about some logical stuff here. What is it at? 2.5. Mahomes 3 pass TDs. He's been doing it every week. I don't mind that, guys. 3 pass TDs. Especially if we don't use Mariota fantasy points feels like a lock. I don't know if I like tossing around the L word these days. 14.65. Let's see what our fantasy life projections have him at. What kind of projections are we looking at here? Oh, do we not have our... Why do we not have our projections up? Come on. Mariota game high rushing yards. I kind of like this. What do you guys think about this one? Jerry McNichols, higher 10.5 receiving yards. Pacheco, 12.5 rushing attempts, and Mahomes throws 3 TDs. What do we think? What do we think? If you use the boost, that's a 9.14x. Does this get us off the schneid? Does it get us off the schneid? Can I hear a few other send-its? You can either say we should be trepidatious. We should proceed with caution. What's the juice on sending Mahomes down to 1.5? Good question. 0.67. That gets it down to still like a 6x, which is the typical thing for a 3-legger. If we really want to throw the condom down. All right. People want us to go look at some Rice receptions. 6.5 receptions. He had 10 targets and 7 receptions last week on limited volume. I just, man, the Brashard stuff, like, I do like that he has that role, but how many did he have against the Raiders? Because that, I guess, was a similar game script. Brashard Smith, yeah, 1.5 reception is 0.77. Yeah, he has been crushing. We're all scared, Herd. Herd says lowering the juice. We've hit the bottom of the barrel. We're all scared. You could offset it. What do you like more? Mahomes throws 3 TDs and you just have that, or 1.5 TDs and Brashard Smith catches 2 receptions. But now you need to get 4 things right. We're never going to get it. I'm going to have to make an executive decision. I'm going to have to make an executive decision. 8x, 40% boost. No, I'm not raising the Brashard Smith receptions. We're locking this in. We're locking this in. We're too chicken shit to do Mahomes throwing 3 TDs. So we lowered him to 1.5, but then we're going to pull in 1.5 receptions for Brashard Smith. Don't say this. Absolutely do not say this. All right. I have 0 confidence. In fact, what does it say are my errors? What are my errors? I tried to put 2 promos in. What other promo did I put in? Wait, was there a... Why was it not letting me do... That was weird. It's like, why is it giving me an error? All right, here we go. Here it is, guys. Jerry McNichols, higher than 10.5 receiving yards. Isaiah Pacheco, higher than 12.5 rush attempts. Brashard Smith, higher than 1.5 receptions. Patrick Mahomes, higher than 1.5 pass TDs. It's the least conviction. And it's not even that I don't like the picks. It's just we're just down so bad. You guys want to do one slide just to live a little? I have one other 30% boost here. Thank you, Imwald. Please don't hit. We're gonna build with the same conviction here. 10.5 receiving yards. Let's slide Josh's take to 19.5. The Rice stuff seems good. You want to slide Rice to like 8 receptions. Rice receptions at 8 is 167. And then you guys want to do a little Smith slide. Let's see. He's been at 32, 21, 42. If we just do a little cheeky slide up there. I mean, this is like a sensible slide, right? Look at this here. Jeremy McNichols, 19.5 receiving yards. Rashee Rice, 7.5 receptions. Brashard Smith, 24.5 receiving yards. And then if you have this boost like me, that gets it up to a 27. A 27x. There you go. Send it. Send it. Core and slide. Keeping it simple. Keeping it simple. All right. Do we want to do a first look? Do you guys want to see a first look? I think I promised somebody a quick check-in at my on our FFPC teams. The one that really stings is so our 5K team with Leone has really been cooking with Cam Skattebo. This is the team that has CMC and Puka and the Mahomes double stack. Or sorry, just the skinny stack, I believe. For some reason, I thought we had Rice. We don't have Rice on this one. So in this one tonight, look at how tight this is projected. We're down 86 to 128. Our opponent has Washington kicker on the road at Arrowhead. Doesn't feel super strong there. We have Butker, Worthy, and Mahomes. So we need Mahomes and Worthy to go nuts. This is the 5K team here. Puka on bye this week, so scoring a little tougher to come by. We did get Jalen Nolan there. Fannin did his job. Ted Arroyo was fine. And then losing Skattebo here really hurts. We're going to have to, we're going to need like Brashard Smith or Tootin, Gainwell, Justice Hill. We're going to have to find an answer at RB2 because now Skattebo is going home. Let's see here. Our destroy, what some of our better teams here. This team with Gretsch is cooking right now. 162 points. We had a start-sit decision, ended up going Troy Franklin. That really helped. This team has 162 points. It has Drake May, Jonathan Taylor on it, which is a pretty sick combo. We have Bill going tonight, Ted Arroyo, Josh Downs, Fannin, Addison, Franklin, Butker. This team has RJ Harvey on the bench, Devontae Adams on bye. These rookie wide receivers and Packers stuff not really panning out. Reed, Higgins, Golden. And this team has Brock Bowers, naturally. But to have this team putting up this many points with Brock Bowers as our 101, that feels nice. Looks like a mixed bag for us overall this week as far as scores. This is our team with Sean that is top in points, I believe. Looks like it's going to lose this week, but continues to put up a good amount of points. This is a Drake May, Warren, Achane, CeeDee Lamb has a Rondé, Harold Fannin has JSN on bye too. That's what's been carrying this team. Our Crack Rock team is in rough shape. The Ron team is in rough shape. Looks like we're going to get a few other wins here. All right. I think that's it for, I got to give a shout out. So this is the stat chasing team, which by the way, you guys should be watching that on Tuesday nights. Dricko and Sacrilegious do a great job running through the usage trends, looking at efficiency, pinpointing breakouts. Very valuable show, whether you're thinking through the lens of season long, waiver ads, trade targets, etc., or just playing DFS. But this team, man, is just like the Walking Dead. Bucky Irving, Omarion Hampton, Brock Bowers, Chris Godwin, and it continues to get wins. Got a Sean Tucker TD here. Had to play Jawan Jennings, spot started Troy Franklin. Drake May continues to carry this team. This one just continues to eke out wins. And if it can just get healthy, that Bucky, Hampton, Godwin, Bauer stuff would be a nice punch. All right, let's do a draft here. See what we're looking at in week 8, week 9. Crazy. Here's the slate. Denver at Houston. Maybe I could see it. Denver at Houston. San Francisco at New York. Ugh, that's the Giants. Indy at Pitt. Indy always pushes opponents, so maybe Aaron Rodgers wakes up in that one. Carolina at Green Bay. Gross. Minnesota at Detroit. That thing could cook. Are we going to get JJ McCarthy for that one? Chargers at Tennessee. Gross. Atlanta at New England. Gross. I mean, May will be good. Chicago at Cincy. Pretty gross. Jacksonville at Las Vegas. Gross. New Orleans at Rams with Shuck. Gross. KC at Buffalo. There it is. KC at Buffalo. That'll be fun. All right, 2 more. Let's draft a playbook here, guys. I'm begging you. I'm begging you to draft with me. I'll even give you one final coffee pour in the process. If you guys have made it this far and you're tuning in and you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Please hit that like button. I don't have $40,000 in my account from swapping Drake London to Michael Pittman or Jalen Waddle, but what I do have are your likes, and that's all that matters to me. At the end of the day, I can't take $40,000 to the grave with me, but you know what I can take? I can take your likes. I can take your likes to the grave, just like I can take all of my pick'ems. I promised one final coffee pour here for the road. All right, let's see what this slate is looking like here. Seems very running back heavy. McCaffrey, Jonathan. How does McCaffrey have a higher ADP than Taylor? Come on, get the fuck out of here. CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan. Man, Bijan down here at 8. We're all mad. We're sticking it to Mr. Brian Robbins or Bijan Robinson. Kyron, James Cook, Genty. Yeah, this is a strong running back slate. Tight end, we have Kittle, Warren, Kraft, Kelsey. Maybe Bowers comes back. That could be fun. Wide receiver, no JSN on this slate, but we have Chase, Puka, Amon-Ra, Rashi, Jefferson, Adams, Rome. Definitely weak at wide receiver after Jefferson, but not bad. And then quarterback, Mahomes, Allen, May, Herbert, Goff, Jones, Love, Nix, Caleb, Stafford, Dart. Not a bad QB week. Tight end deep, QB flattish, running back strong at the top. Big Sleep says, how can I like your channel if I can't even like myself after this week of BR drafting? I hear you, brother. But this show is all about self-love. It's all about loving yourself, forgiving yourself. That's what I'm doing today. I'm not going to lay awake in bed tonight and think about Darnell Mooney. I would never do that. I would never do such a thing. Who do we get wrong this week, says Draft Board. As I choke on my coffee. How long do you have, Draft Board? How long do you have? Yeah, I saw this too. I believe the issue was Joe Flacco wasn't in the initial player pool for the playbook, so they took him down and got a new one back up. Can't leave out Joe Flacco. The people need to be able to draft Joe Flacco. Who do the Bengals play again? Yeah, Cincy at home for Chicago. We need Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is going to be on the menu. Usual content schedule for this week. Swolecast tomorrow at noon. Thursday, we'll have the Fantasy Life draft stream. That's when I kind of share my first thoughts on the Battle Royale slate. We'll have Lulz, Battle Royale Bash on Thursday afternoon, and then Friday, the trio of shows, Block Party, Bully the Sims, off and on the clock. I'm curious where Mahomes and Allen settle this week for quarterback prices. Oh, yeah, BB trying to bully me by taking Rice first because Mahomes Rice was going to be an easy little click there for me. Man, wide receiver kind of fell off here too, didn't it? I think I got to go Allen. Do we try to run back the Allen and James Cook? Probably not, right? Man, I feel like pick 11 is a bit of a cliff there, right? Man. Honestly, yeah, I don't like doing the Cook and Allen at those prices. Do we think Genty off the bye can shred? Will I ever take early tight end in season long again? Oh, for sure. I'm sure I can just picture it right now. It's March 4th. I've taken a little bit of a break after the Super Bowl. I log back in on Underdog. I fire up a best ball breakfast at 10 a.m. Eastern on a Monday morning. I say, I'm back, baby. Let's draft our first on-stream big board. It's round 3. It's the first time I've looked at ADPs for the year. And I open my eyes and say, Brock Bowers is available in the late 3rd? This is a generational wealth opportunity. And then I click the button. That's not even that crazy. I can really see myself doing that. All right, we start Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen, Ashton Genty. We had 1 week for Genty and Pete Carroll to go out for breakfast, for Pete to realize he needs to give Genty 28 touches this week versus the Jags. Drake May, QB3. Life comes at you fast. Steven says, I thought you were going to say Gadsden. Well, that's because Gadsden will be going in round 2. And I'll be like, Brock Bowers, man, that's good. That's good arbitrage on round 2, Oronde Gadsden. Is Bowers back this week? The fuck if I know, man. I honestly have no clue. I've mentally or emotionally ejected from caring about Brock Bowers. Who's writing this article? This article is trying to bait me into taking him in the 3rd round of the 2026 big board. Why Raiders Brock Bowers is still one of the NFL's best. This doesn't sound good. Raiders Brock Bowers gets tough injury update before Monday night AFC West showdown. Oh, this is from September 8th. It said 21 hours ago. This is some bullshit by Yahoo. Updating your article here so it says 21 hours ago when the actual article is from Monday, September 8th. Get out of here, Yahoo. I'm on to you. I heard Tucker Kraft is just while I was sleeping, Tucker Kraft was scoring touchdowns last night. Does that mean I have to take him? All right, now we need our first wide receiver. DK versus Indy, Ladd versus Tennessee, Tiggins. Been reading too much Winnie the Pooh to April. Tiggins. Michael Pittman Jr., Drake London, Nico. Ladd's been starting to heat up a little bit. Let's take Ladd versus Tennessee, see if he can do what Pittman did. Sanderson writing that article. Like, I mean, let me actually go to Roto World and see what the last Brock Bowers report was. Carroll says should be ready post-bye. Should be. What does that even mean? Should be? It was a reasonable expectation after both were mostly shut down in practice. Let me go to the source here. Ryan McFadden. Any relation to Darren? Raiders head coach Pete Carroll said tight end Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers should be ready to go after this week. Shout out to Harry Sweater in the comments. Who cares? It's too late now. The season is done. Trade Myers and keep Bowers out until next season. No point to play now at 2-5. Harry feels like me. Who cares? It's too late in the season for my best ball bags. I'm not advancing a single Brock Bowers team. Trade Jacoby Myers and keep Bowers out until next season, where I can draft him in the 3rd round of the big board contest. Big sleep. I should be working right now. I did see this. Tyler Lockett side with the Raiders. That team, man. Remember when Dante Thornton was going to be a thing? I don't know. If I'm Tyler Lockett, like I like Tyler Lockett. He had a great career. Got to be a part of some really cool Seahawks teams. I think you just got to let it go. I mean, going to play ball. I mean, I understand getting away from Cam Ward and the Titans right now. Like that was operation number one, but you should have been headed to the beach. Go enjoy your life. Don't subject yourself to running 20% of the routes with this Geno Smith Raiders team. That just doesn't sound like a good time to me. All right. Which wide receiver am I taking? Nico Collins, Q-tag versus Denver. Surtain. He's been awful. No way. This is how you do it. From the man who brought you the sharp Darnell Mooney swap comes the man willing to take 6th round Mr. Irrelevant Nico Collins. That's why they pay me the big bucks. This is why you guys should buy the Underdog Masterclass, underdogmasterclass.com. Get 10% off with promo code BADGE. You'll learn how to swap off $40,000 with Darnell Mooney and select Nico Collins in the second iteration of the Week 9 playbook draft on Underdog. Trust me, I'm used to all your criticisms. 40-point total. He's hurt. He sucks. I'm telling you, this is how you play the games. This is how you play the games. We're going to get about 4 picks of CLV on Nico Collins when he's ruled in. I could swap to Null. Exactly. Is Darnell Mooney on this slate? Darnell Mooney, no ADP. Can you believe that? The people drafting in the playbook on Monday at 12:01 p.m. Eastern time do not have any interest in selecting Darnell Mooney coming off of a massive 4-target, 1 reception for 11-yard game. I don't know why I just started talking like I was delivering a news report on CBS. For more, tune in next time on the Portfolio Review.